going to be carving a pumpkin today. So what you're going to do first is cut the top part of the pumpkin into like a star formation, and clean out all the pumpkin seeds and everything that's inside so that it's easier to, I personally believe it's easier to cut through, and you won't have to deal with all the nasty stuff inside. And once I get the top off, I use my knife and I cut all the gooey stuff off of it. It's just easier and faster to do. This is what my pumpkin looked like a star formation, kind of like that. And as you see, as when you open, I usually don't get all of it out since it is slippery and sort of hard to get out, and you can see the inside. But try to get as much as you can out. Now for your pumpkin design, I usually print out like a picture of what I want, and today I've chosen the Oogie Boogie Man. And you just want to tape that on the pumpkin, and you want to move your hand over the paper so that the paper does not move, or else it's going to ruin your stencil later on. Now for how to make the stencil, I use a thermometer, and I just kind of stick it along the lines of my design so that it's easier to see, and I can just cut where the lines are. So with the stencil, it should look like this with all the little holes to guide you. This is what your pumpkin should look like with all the little holes, and it'll make it way easier to carve, and you'll be able to see what you're carving. Then I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to carve along the dotted lines. I would suggest doing smaller details first so that when you have to cut out the bigger things, you'll be able to know where not to go too deep into it, or else it will make the carving fall apart, and we don't want that. So as you can see here, I'm just carving out my pumpkin. So this is what my pumpkin looks like after carving most of the details. So sometimes for the bigger details, you are going to have to recarve the lines where you have already carved, just so that it's easier to pop out. And as you can see, his head fell off, which was okay because it's able to stand up, and to fix that you can just put toothpicks. You also are going to have to clean up inside the pumpkin if you don't like the strings. But as you can see in here, I've left the strings to add more of like a spooky effect. And yeah, that's how you cover pumpkin.